mínísítà fẹ́tò ìdájọ́ ilẹ̀ ọ̀hún ọ̀gbẹ́ni Frank Dean sọ fún mi pé gbogbo àwọn tí ẹ̀sùn wọn kò gbóhùn púpọ̀ ni wọ́n ń dá padà pẹ̀lú àfikún pé gbogbo àwọn tí ẹ̀sùn tí wọ́n fi kàn wọ́n kò bá tóbi púpọ̀ ni wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ dá padà sáàrin ìlú lábẹ́ àbójútó àwọn adarí àwùjọ. ẹ rántí pé ọgbà àtúndà ìwà ilẹ̀ náà tó wà ní Monrovia ni wọ́n kọ̀ láti gba ọ̀ọ́dúnrún ẹlẹ́wọ̀n nígbà tí àpapọ̀ iye àwọn olùgbé ìlú ńlá náà jẹ́ ẹgbẹ̀rún lọ́nà ọ̀ọ́dúnrún èyí tí wọ́n ń lò fún 200 ẹlẹ́wọ̀n báyìí tí àwọn olùgbé ìlú náà ti di 1.5 mílíọ̀nù. ní báyìí orílẹ̀-èdè Iran ló ti sọ ọ̀kan lára àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ tó ń pèsè ìrànwọ́ tó jẹ́ ọmọ ilẹ̀ Belgium sí ẹ̀wọ̀n ọdún 28 lórí ẹ̀sùn tẹ́nìkẹ́ni ò mọ̀. ẹni ọdún 41 ọ̀hún ọ̀gbẹ́ni Oliver van der Kasteel ni wọ́n fi páńpẹ́ òfin mú lóṣù kejì ọdún lákòókò tó ṣàbẹ̀wò sílùú Tehran pẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn pé ó sàmì nílẹ̀ náà. ìròyìn fi léde pé àwọn mọ̀lẹ́bí rẹ̀ sọ pé wọ́n ti fi ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tọ́gbẹ́ni ọ̀hún ṣẹ̀ tó wọn létí lákòókò ìpàdé tí wọ́n ṣe pẹ̀lú olóòtú ilẹ̀ Belgium tí ò sí ìfẹsẹ̀múlẹ̀ ẹ̀sùn náà láti ilẹ̀ Iran ṣùgbọ́n tíròyìn tó tẹ oníròyìn lọ́wọ́ lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ díẹ̀ tí òfin ilẹ̀ Belgium fagilé ṣíṣe pàṣípààrọ̀ ẹlẹ́wọ̀n ilẹ̀ náà pẹ̀lú ilẹ̀ míì. ìròyìn àgbáyé ló ń de sétí gbọ̀yìn láti lè ṣe rédíò Ọ̀ṣun alórùwọ̀rùn ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà ìgbọ́sẹ̀ pàtàkì tá a ní fún àlàáfíà lọ́pàá kù tẹ̀lé fún ìdàgbàsókè àwùjọ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àìsídájọ́ òdodo ti ń fi kàkà ké pé ìdàrúdàpọ̀ gbà láfíà láàyè ní gbogbo ọ̀nà rẹ̀. wáyé o àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ nọ́ọ̀sì ilẹ̀ England Wales àti ìhà àríwá Ireland ní ògùnlé ìyanṣẹ́lódì lónìí èyí tó jẹ́ ìgbésẹ̀ tó gbójúgan jù tí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ elétò ìlera yóò gbé nínú ọ̀rọ̀ ìtàn ìlera ilẹ̀ náà. ìròyìn fi léde pé àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ọ̀hún yóò sì máa ṣe àwọn iṣẹ́ ìdóòlà ẹ̀mí pẹ́pẹ̀pẹ́ àtàwọn ìtọ́jú ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ pàjáwìrì ṣùgbọ́n tí ò ní sí ìtọ́jú iṣẹ́ abẹ àtàwọn iṣẹ́ míì tó farapẹ́. ilé ẹ̀kọ́ṣẹ́ ìmọ̀ nọ́ọ̀sì ilẹ̀ náà sọ pé àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ọ̀hún kò ní ohun míì tí wọ́n lè ṣe látàrí bí mínísítà ilẹ̀ náà ti kọ̀ tí ò bá wọn fi kùn lukùn mọ́ ṣùgbọ́n tíjọba ilẹ̀ náà sọ pé òun kò lè san ìdá 19 nínú ìdá 100 èléwó owó táwọn òṣìṣẹ́ ọ̀hún béèrè fún ṣùgbọ́n tí àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ nọ́ọ̀sì ilẹ̀ Scotland kò sí lára àwọn tó daṣẹ́ sílẹ̀ lákòókò náà. nínú ìròyìn míì kò dín láwọn èèyàn 3 tó gbẹ̀yìn mì gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìjì líle láti ìlà oòrùn ilẹ̀ Amẹ́ríkà ti nawọ́jà rẹ̀ dé gúúsù ilẹ̀ náà níbi tí ó tún ti sán àrá tí yìnyín sì ń bọ́ kíkankíkan láwọn ibùdó náà. ìròyìn fi ìdí ẹ̀ múlẹ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn bíi 1,100 láti àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ 4 nínú èyí tí a ti rí Nebraska, Wyoming, gúúsù Dakota àti New Mexico ló ń fojú winá ìkìlọ̀ ìjì líle àti yìnyín èyí tó mú kí ṣíṣe ìrìn àjò ságbègbè náà léwu púpọ̀ lákòókò yìí ṣùgbọ́n tí ọ̀gọ̀rọ̀ mílíọ̀nù àwọn agbègbè míì lórílẹ̀‐èdè náà kò sí lábẹ́ ìjì líle àti ọjọ́ tó méwu dání báyìí. wáyé orílẹ̀‐èdè China ti kó àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ aṣojú rẹ̀ 6 nínú èyí tí a ti rí ọ̀gá aṣojú ilẹ̀ náà nílẹ̀ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì kúrò lẹ́yìn oṣù méjì tí lásìgbò wáyé lọ́fíìsì rẹ̀ tó wà ní Manchester. ilẹ̀ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì ló béèrè fún kí wọ́n yọwọ́ òfin àṣẹ̀mọ́lù tó dáàbò bo ẹ̀tọ́ àwọn aṣojú ilẹ̀ òkèrè káwọn ọ̀tẹlẹ̀múyẹ́ bá lè ráàyè béèrè àwọn ìbéèrè tó tọ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn aṣojú náà lórí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ ọ̀hún. tákọ̀wé ilẹ̀ òkèrè ilẹ̀ náà ọ̀gbẹ́ni James Cleverly sì fàìdùnnú rẹ̀ hàn sí pé kò sẹ́ni kankan nínú àwọn aṣojú rẹ̀ 6 náà tí ó kojú ìdájọ́. lára ẹ̀kọ́ ńlá ti rí ọ̀gá aṣojú ilẹ̀ náà ọ̀gbẹ́ni Zheng Zian ẹni tó sọ wípé kò sẹ́ni tó fọwọ́ ba àwọn olùfẹ̀hónúhàn ọ̀hún. ẹ ó rántí pé olùfẹ̀hónúhàn ìjọba àwarawa kan ọ̀gbẹ́ni Bob Chan ni wọ́n ṣe léṣe lẹ́yìn tí wọ́n fìyà jẹ gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n tún ti ná lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní ilé aṣojú ilẹ̀ náà lọ́jọ́ 16 oṣù kẹwàá ọdún yìí. ká tó mú ìròyìn àgbáyé tọ̀sán òní wá sópin, kókó amẹ́nubà rèé lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i. orílẹ̀-èdè nàìjíríà tí ń kówó tuntun tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ pa láwọ̀dà jáde léni, èyí tí àwọn ọmọ ilẹ̀ yìí yóò bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí níná láti àkókò yìí lọ. ọgbà àtúndá ìwà ilẹ̀ Liberia dáwọn ẹlẹ́wọ̀n ọ̀tún padà nítorí àkúnfàyà tí ibùdó náà ń kún. òṣìṣẹ́ nọ́ọ̀sì ilẹ̀ England ó gùn lé ìyanṣẹ́lódì lónìí lórí àlàkalẹ̀ ètò ìlera ilẹ̀ náà tí ò bá wọn lára mu. aṣojú ilẹ̀ China yóò fi ilẹ̀ Gẹ̀ẹ́sì sílẹ̀ lórí ìkọlù àwọn olùfẹ̀hónúhàn tó wáyé ní Manchester lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ pípẹ́ sẹ́yìn díẹ̀. èyí lọ́pọ̀ ìròyìn àgbáyé tọ̀sán òní. Olúṣọlá Ìgbẹ̀dọ̀fọ̀ lólóòtú, Adébáyọ̀ Oyèníyì ló mú wá sétí gbọ́yìn. eré tí wà tó ní ti Adébóyè púpọ̀ láìka ìròyìn àtọ̀rọ̀ tó ń lọ. iléeṣẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ ló bójú ọ̀rọ̀ tí kọmíṣánná àjọ elétò ìdìbò ẹkùn Àbújá sọ lórí ìgbésẹ̀ tí ó tọ́ tí àwọn olóṣèlú kan tó ti ń sáré káàkiri tọ̀sán tòru láti máa ra káàdì àwọn olùdìbò nímúra sílẹ̀ ìdìbò àpapọ̀ ilẹ̀ yìí ọdún tó ń bọ̀. ẹ jẹ́ á gbọ́.
àṣírí ìwà aláàbí kan tó tún tú láìpẹ́ yìí tó jẹ́ ìpawọ́pọ̀ ibi àwọn olóṣèlú kan tí wọ́n fẹ́ fi dàmàrú ètò ìdìbò gbogbo ọdún tó ń bọ̀ jẹ́ ohun tó yẹ kó kọ gbogbo ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí lóminú, pàápàá àwọn tó ń fẹ́ kí ìṣèjọba rere ó wà lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀nà àbáyọ sí ìjákulẹ̀ tó ń bá ilẹ̀ wa Nàìjíríà láti ọdún pípẹ́ wa. àwọn ọ̀gá àgbà àjọ elétò ìdìbò láwọn ìpínlẹ̀ bíi Nasarawa, Kaduna, Plateau àti olúrulẹ̀ yìí ló fi gbé ta pé ìwà táwọn olóṣèlú kan ń wù lẹ́nu lọ́lọ́ yìí léwu púpọ̀, tí wọ́n fẹ́ máa fa àwọn olùdìbò lójúmọ́ra pẹ̀lú fífi ra káàdì ìdìbò alálòpẹ́ wọn nípa gba nọ́mbà ìdánimọ̀ tó ń bẹ lórí káàdì ìdìbò alálòpẹ́ àwọn tí wọ́n bá ti fún ní owó náà tí wọ́n yóò sì lò láti fi ṣèrú ìbò kí wọ́n lè fi jáwé olúborí nínú ìbò ọdún tó ń bọ̀. wọ́n jẹ́ kó yé ni pé ó ti di àwọn èèyàn méjì tọ́wọ́ ti tẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá àwọn káàdì ìdìbò alálòpẹ́ tó jẹ́ táwọn méè lọ́wọ́ wọn lọ́nà tí ò bófin mu nípínlẹ̀ Sokoto àti Kano, tí wọ́n sì ti fi ojú wọn balẹ̀ ẹjọ́. gbogbo àwọn tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tí àjọ elétò ìdìbò ilẹ̀ yìí ń tú àṣírí ẹ̀ yìí tún jẹ́ kó máa fojú hàn pé síbẹ̀ àwọn olùdìbò kan nílẹ̀ yìí òye sì mọ ọ̀tún yàtọ̀ sósì náà nípa agbára tí wọ́n ní gẹ́gẹ́ bí olùdìbò àti ẹ̀tọ́ wọn lábẹ́ òfin pẹ̀lú káàdì ìdìbò wọn tí yóò jẹ́ kí wọ́n lè fi yan ẹni tó bá wù wọ́n sípò àṣẹ. ó jẹ́ ohun tó bá ní lọ́kàn jẹ́ púpọ̀ pé àwọn tá a gbójú okùn lé wọn ò jẹ́ ní agbára rárá láwọn tó yẹ kí wọ́n jẹ́ atúnlùṣe tó jẹ́ pé àwọn náà ni wọ́n á ń fa owó agbo lọ síwájú ilẹ̀ ìsẹ́yìn nídìí ojúṣe tí àwùjọ fi lé wọn lọ́wọ́ tó jẹ́ pé ìdarí àwọn èèyàn pàápàá àwọn olùdìbò síbi tó yẹ ló yẹ kó jẹ́ lóṣè ni wọ́n tún wá ń fi ìwà ẹ̀tàn wọn fi kọrí àwọn èèyàn sígbó tí àyọrísí ìwà bí eléyìí sì jẹ́ ohun tó ń fa ìwà jẹgúdújẹrá tó ti gògò nílẹ̀ yìí láti ìgbà ìpẹ́ wa tó fi mọ́ àìsí ìbọ̀wọ̀ fófin àti àìsòótọ́ nídìí àmójútó burúkú tó lọ́run fi jíǹkì ilẹ̀ yìí àti àìsí àmójútó gidi fún ètò ọrọ̀ ajé ilẹ̀ yìí tó ń pagidédàn ìdàgbàsókè orílẹ̀-èdè láti ọ̀pọ̀ ọdún sẹ́yìn. gbogbo ìgbà ni àkọọ́lẹ̀ ń jẹ́ kó yé ni nípa bí iṣẹ́ òun òṣìṣẹ́ ń fojoojúmọ́ gbogbo sí lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí pẹ̀lú báwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí tó ń rámù nínú iṣẹ́ òun òṣìṣẹ́ ń pọ̀ sí lójoojúmọ́ tí ọ̀pọ̀ oní oore ọ̀fẹ́ oúnjẹ mẹ́ta lójúmọ́ mọ́ tí ọ̀rọ̀ ààbò tó ń fi gbogbo ìgbà mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́ sí láti bí ọdún mẹ́wàá sẹ́yìn náà sì tún mú kí iṣẹ́ òun òṣìṣẹ́ òun ó máa pọ̀ sí i. tí a bá fẹ́ mú kí gbogbo àwọn ìdíwọ́ àti ìdènà yìí ó dópin ó nílò pé kí a sànà bí a ó ṣe yan adarí tó gbójú òṣùwọ̀n sípò àṣẹ tí yóò lo ìrírí rẹ̀ ọgbọ́n orí àti ìwà dáre tó ní láti fi sin àwọn èèyàn orílẹ̀-èdè yìí gẹ́gẹ́ bá a ṣe ń fẹ́. ìdí sì rèé tí ètò ìdìbò gbogbo tó ń bọ̀ yìí fi ṣe pàtàkì púpọ̀ fún ìfẹsẹ̀múlẹ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí àti rígbà kúrò lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó ń fọwọ́ aago ìlọsíwájú rẹ̀ sẹ́yìn. ó ń lò pé káwọn orílẹ̀-èdè yìí ó jáwọ́ nínú gbogbo ìwà kò tọ́ tó lè sọ wọ́n di ìránṣẹ́ burúkú fáwọn arìjẹnídìí mọ̀dàrú olóṣèlú tó jẹ́ pé ọ̀nà tí wọ́n ń wá láti dépò ní gbogbo ọ̀nà fún àǹfààní ara wọn, ohun tó sì lè mú kí àwọn èèyàn lẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí òdìbò ó gbára wọn lẹ̀ kúrò nínú iṣẹ́ òun òsì ni kí wọ́n ó mọ ẹ̀tọ́ wọn tí wọ́n lábẹ́ òfin láti fi dìbò yan ẹni tó bá wù wọ́n láìsí gbọ́dọ̀ torí owó ta ọjọ́ ọ̀la wọn fáwọn olóṣèlú arìjẹnídìí ìbàjẹ́. lẹ́yìn eléyìí káwọn ọlọ́pàá náà tá a nílẹ̀ yìí ó mọ iṣẹ́ wọn níṣẹ́ láti máa ṣèkà ògbèrè rárá bí kò ṣe kí wọn ó máa fi ìgbà gbogbo dọdẹ àwọn olóṣèlú tó bá máa fowó ra káàdì olùdìbò alálòpẹ́ àwọn olùdìbò tó ń bẹ nílẹ̀ yìí tí wọ́n fi ṣèrú nínú ìbò tó ń bọ̀. èrò tiwa tòní wòye pé àfikọ́fin òṣìṣẹ́ ọwọ́ rẹ̀ bí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ àwọn olóṣèlú kan ò ní yé fẹ́ máa wá ọ̀nà àlùmọ̀kọ́rọ́ yín láti ṣèrú nínú ìbò láti lè fi dé ipò àṣẹ. ìdí rèé tẹ́lọ̀ ti wá tòní fi wá ké sí gbogbo àwọn oníkọ̀jìkọ̀ aláàbò láti sọ́sùkòtò wọn gírí láti fi dọdẹ àwọn olóṣèlú tí wọ́n wọ́ ohun ò mọ́ láti lè fi gba ilẹ̀ sílẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ àwọn oníṣẹ́ ibi àti fífi dáàbòbò òfin ìdìbò ilẹ̀ yìí kó lè jẹ́ pé àwọn tó bá kójú òṣùwọ̀n tí gbogbo òlú yàn fúnra wọn tí wọn yóò darí ilẹ̀ yìí bá a ṣe ń fẹ́ ni wọ́n gbogbo àwọn òrókè nínú ìbò tó ń bọ̀.
ẹ̀rọ tí àtẹ̀gbọ́ tán ló ṣàpèjúwe ewu àwọn olóṣèlú kan tó ti ń sá káàkiri láti ra káàdì àwọn olùdìbò bí ìgbésẹ̀ tí ò tọ́ láti dojú ìdìbò àpapọ̀ ilẹ̀ yìí ọdún tó ń bọ̀ bolẹ̀. Adébóyè púpọ̀ lẹ́ka ìròyìn àtọ̀rọ̀ tó ń lọ iléeṣẹ́ ló bẹ gègé lọ́wọ́ Adéníyì Akínrọ̀mádé ló tún tó sì ká lédè Yorùbá fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ ìròyìn àtọ̀rọ̀ tó ń lọ lórí ìkànnì yìí ẹ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lójúpọ̀ ìtàkùn ayélujára www.osbcng.org mọ́ kí ẹ kú kalẹ̀.
Ṣoṣo àjẹ̀yìnbó tí mo gbé kìjikìji 104.5
You're listening to 104.5 megahertz.
Just like water, we are your indispensable companion.
Past 1 on OSBC Radio 104.5 FM Oshogo, Voice of the West, Nigeria. Time to join Muideen Adeleke for today's edition of Platform.
Dear listener, this is welcoming you to yet another edition of your weekly issues-based current affairs program. We call it Platform because it provides a veritable platform to talk about matters that are germane to the socio-economic and political system in Nigeria. At times we go beyond the shores of the country to discuss issues that are international in outlook. Today it is potpourri because we shall be taking on our guests already seated in the studio on a lot of issues concerning how Nigeria will be a better place for you and I. I'm happy to inform you that I have with me in the studio a legal practitioner, a son of the soil in all ramifications, and a social affairs analyst in Mr. Farouk Abbas, a barrister at law. I'm happy to have you in the studio this afternoon.
Thank you for having me, sir. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, let's get down to the business of the day. Democracy is where we shall start from, because by 2023, the change of guard will occur in Nigeria, and there must be a bold attempt getting people to file out, line up, in the sun to willingly offer their mandate to whoever they deem fit, that will better serve the interests of the masses. And we have, if you allow me, we have contenders as well as pretenders. A lot of people will be there, up there, in people's estimation as contenders. It will tell us whether they are really contenders and whether they are also pretenders, those who will probably add up the number. So let's take a look at Nigeria's experience as far as democracy is concerned. Under 1 or 2 minutes or so, let's carry out a post-mortem of what has been the experience of Nigeria since we gained independence. Because some people are still saying that by the time we attain independence, it should have taken us probably a decade or more before we could fight for independence. Do you subscribe to this assertion?
I don't subscribe to the assertion. And the way I look at it is, I tend to look at the positive side of things. And although yes, a lot of Nigerians might not be satisfied with where we are now in terms of our democratic experience, I see the positive side. I believe that we are growing and we are improving tremendously. And I'm sure you also agree with me that the election we had in 2019 was much more better than the election we had in 2015. And if you look at the election we had in 2007, when the president came on board, President Umar Musa Yar'Adua, he stated it clearly that he admitted that his election was extremely controversial and all of that. So I feel that we are making progress. And now with the beavers that has been introduced into our election system, is the first of its kind. It's first of its kind and electronic transmission of results. This is something we didn't have before in the past.
Okay, thank you so much. You have bailed the cat now, and I'd like to take you up on the issue of some of those innovations we have brought into our electoral system in Nigeria. Take a look at the introduction of card reader and beavers and what have you. It's obvious. One of the resident electoral commissioners during an interview once told me that most of these gadgets, most of this technology we have introduced into our electoral system are not being made use of by the producers. They are not making use of them, but they are producing them for us. What do you see to this? Do we really need them, or we need attitudinal change?
You know, I believe every clime is different.
Okay.
And you know, what takes place in Japan might not be what takes place in Nigeria. We need to, yes, attitudinal change is also important, but you know, we have to look at the climb. In terms of Nigerian climb now, I believe that we need them tremendously. Even with what we have now, a new challenge is coming up again. So what happens is that when we solve a problem, another problem rears its head. Before, people were using incident form for elections. On election day, you have incident form. People were not using the card readers and all of that. Now, INEC has stated categorically that you must use all these things. Then we now have the issue of vote buying again. So that's a new problem. So now, no amount of technology can stop vote buying. So vote buying will now be attitudinal change. But you know, we have to start addressing the problem one after the other.
Must we buy votes?
We shouldn't buy votes. We shouldn't. But you know, if there's poverty in the land, it's inevitable. Saying we shouldn't buy votes when there's poverty in the land is like you're just saying rubbish, if you pardon my choice of word. If there's poverty in the land, people will sell their votes. If there's unemployment in the land, people will sell their votes.
Come to think of it, some are even pointing accusing fingers at politicians that deliberately they create poverty, and they come around to tell us that they are fighting poverty.
Well, some people say that, but I don't think I want to agree with that. If some politicians do that, then those are the myopic politicians. Because even as a politician, I don't think it's in your best interest for the level of poverty amongst your people to be very high. Because you'll be insecure, you'll be unsafe, and your life will be in danger. So if you are endangering poverty, it means that you are indirectly trying to kill yourself. So if any politician is actually driving their agenda towards creating poverty, then I think the politician doesn't know what he's doing. So I really don't, people say it, but I don't want to believe that any sound politician that knows what he's doing would deliberately want to engender poverty in his environment.
Okay, if you are just joining us, this is OSBC 104.5 FM, 104.5 FM, and that's the voice of the West. The program is platform coming from the News and Current Affairs Department of this station. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, we continue with the program. Platform. We are still very much on OSBC 104.5 FM, Voice of the West. Still talking politics. There are some marked features of Nigerian politics that make the difference and distinguish it from what obtains in a Senate climb. And when you talk of thuggery, inducement, and many other things, mundane matters, they tend to portray us differently from other parts of the world. Why is it so in Nigeria? They say even when the system works in some other climes, when it comes to Nigeria, definitely it will meet its brickwork.
Thank you very much, sir, for that question. You know, one thing we have to look at is that there are certain denominators that we have to look at that. Once they exist in any clime, then we must have certain kind of effect. Nigeria we have a very large population. And when you have poverty in the land, then you have thuggery, you have insecurity, you have kidnapping, you have drugs, you have people taking drugs, you have people doing yahoo and all this kind of. And when all this kind of thing exists in a system, it will percolate every sphere of life in that area, whether election, whether church, whether practice, whether football. You will see element of thuggery in all. Even at the National Assembly, you will see National Assembly members throwing chair on each other and all. So it goes around.
So you are attributing it to poverty.
Yes,
but we keep on fighting poverty. Successive administrations in Nigeria have continually fought poverty, but yet poverty rears its ugly head every now and then.
Sir, they are not fighting poverty the right way. Fighting poverty is not by giving a raw lota, grinding machine, or giving Okada to people, or giving Ifiko to people. That's not fighting poverty. The greatest way to fight poverty is to educate your youth and to empower, train them in technical skills. Plumbing. How many electricians have been produced from? If you want to tile a house in Lagos now, you get people from Togo, from Ghana. Even house girls in Lagos that are earning 40,000 naira per month, they are from Cotonou, they are from Benin Republic. Tilers, bricklayers, they are all from Cotonou. So people from Cotonou come to Nigeria to come and work as expatriates, and they do the job very well. But the average Nigerian youth, you don't want to work hard, you just want to drive Okada and just make quick money. So if you want to tackle poverty, you cannot tackle poverty by riding Okada or by driving a Marwa or by doing a raw lota. That's not the way to. You have to educate them and train them in a field. Let them have a skill that they can do. Because if you have Okada, if your Okada has problem, you don't have any job anymore. But if you have a skill as a plumber, you always get jobs and you can train more people. The question we ask ourselves is that for the past couple of years now, how many plumbers have we trained in Lagos, in Osho State, in Oshogo? How many electricians have we trained? How many tilers have we trained? How many carpenters? We did some projects in my village. You have to go and bring some kind of carpenter because they are not advanced enough to do certain kind of work. So the best way to tackle poverty is by education. Ensure that all the youths of education age are educated. If you don't do that and you just be sharing empowerment every year, you are not tackling poverty. You are creating more poverty because some of the people who collect all these items will go and sell those items and use the money to go and gamble or to go and enjoy themselves. So we are not tackling poverty the right way. If we start to tackle poverty the right way, poverty will go down. Let me give you the experience of China. Poverty in China was extremely very high. But they tackled it by educating their people and ensuring that they start to produce. And now the trend of poverty level in China has reduced significantly because they have produced, they train themselves. So in Nigeria, we have to change our style of poverty eradication by sharing wheelbarrow, by sharing a lota. All those is unheard of. That's not the way to tackle poverty. So if you do that, you are even engendering poverty. If you see anybody doing that, they are creating more poverty in the land.
Okay, 62 years on after independence, Nigeria is still grappling with quite a number of mundane challenges. When you talk of, we've just mentioned poverty now, and you said it should be tackled the right way. But there's no enabling environment to tackle poverty currently. Rather, it's unfortunate. In those days, we used to riding Okada was a prevailing situation in neighboring countries, not even in Nigeria. But come to think of it, what about we have found ourselves in a conundrum now. When you talk of poverty, talk of insecurity, banditry, terrorism, and the rest. Where really lies the problem? Why are we having more than enough challenges to contend with at this period of our nationhood?
I think the question is very straightforward. The answer is straightforward, and I'll tell you why. If you go to other countries and you look at the way their citizens behave, their citizens are very involved in the electioneering process. If you look at in America, when President Obama ran for election, his election was funded by American citizens. They pay their taxes, they know who their local government chairmen are, they contribute money to their political parties and to their candidates. But in Nigeria, the majority of us don't participate. We don't even care. We'll be watching Big Brother Africa, we'll be watching Africa Magic, we'll be watching World Cup, watching television, and just chasing you and your family. I want me and my family to have money, to have a good car. You don't care who your local government chairman is, who your councillor is. You don't join a political party. You don't go for a ward meeting. You don't go for anything. Nobody knows you in your environment. You don't even know who your councillor is, and you expect to have a good leader. But if you go to America, if you go to all these countries, they participate in their primaries. In America, both Democratic Party and Republican Party, general populists participate in their primaries to elect their candidates. So if the citizenry is very actively involved in the electoral process will bring up good leaders who can take care of the society. But if the citizen just said, no, just me and my family alone, let us sit down in our house alone, it's the worst of us that will become our leaders. And when the worst of us have become our leaders, they can never do anything that will benefit the populace. They will only benefit themselves and their families.
Okay, thank you so much. You've made mention of the well-meaning individuals in society taking part in the election of credible leaders. But my experience, as far as Nigerian politics is concerned, has shown that our own society does not encourage the well-to-do, the well-meaning individuals to vie for positions of leadership and what have you. Even when they make attempt, they are not trusted. People will prefer to vote for those they think could be easily manipulated, even right from the grassroots. Why is it so?
Why it is so is that, the system has already gotten bad to a particular level. So when the system is bad, and the system was bad because most of us were indolent, we didn't participate on time. So now if you want to make that change and you come in, you know that it will take you a long time to make the change. So you that you have not been participating in politics before, you can't just come into the system now and say you want to run for office. No. If the room is dirty, you can't sweep the room from outside. You have to be strategic. But the so-called elites that you've talked about that want to join politics, when you see them and they come, the next thing they say they want to go for House of Rep, they want to go for Senate, they want to go for House of Assembly. Meanwhile, they're just coming from nowhere. So you have to be patient.
Should they start from the grassroots?
Even if they don't start from the grassroots, let them be actively involved in the party. Support candidates. Let people know you in your ward. Then when you have conquered your ward after 4 or 5 years, then you can now start showing interest. But you can't just come immediately and just think within 1 year, you just came from London, you bought jam for people, you share wheelbarrow, and the next thing you say you want to contest. It doesn't work that way. The people that you want to contest, you want to take their ticket, they will see you as a manipulator, that you want to come and make money from them, and they will cheat you. So when these kind of people lose money, they run away. Because even they themselves, their intention was not pure in the first instance. So when you come in, don't come in with the expectation of, I want to go and wipe all of them. All of the politicians are dirty, they are criminals, they are rogue, therefore you are the Holy Spirit that will come and change them. No. When you come in, be patient, mix with them, understand them, they will know your own style too. then gradually start building people in that team. Then when you have a solid team, then you can now say you want to aspire or you want to support somebody. But the way we see that in Nigeria, we like instant noodles approach. Instant noodles, iMessage, you send message, somebody receive it immediately. That WhatsApp message, we don't believe in long-term planning. We don't believe that things take process. You can't just come from nowhere and say you're a director in one bank and you just came to your local government, you have declared you want to run for Senate. You have not been doing anything in your community for the past 10 years. So it's not going to work.
Okay, thank you so much. It's been a disturbing experience in the recent past when you see ASIN being committed on INEC facilities. The buildings are burnt and materials are consumed in the process. Yet INEC is undaunted, saying no amount of intimidation will stop it from conducting the 2023 election. So, in the first instance, take a look at ASIN being committed every now and then, especially in the southeast and some other parts of the country. How do you describe the experience, and how do we move or get over this problem?
It is a very sorry situation, and it's a very sad situation that Nigerians, because I don't believe those who are committing the ASIN are foreigners, they are Nigerians. And I think it's also part of our failing as citizens of our country. Because I know if anybody wants to come and burn an INEC facility, I don't believe that those people will be from outside of that society, from that community. I believe that some people in that community too will know about it. If, as a community member, we are all vigilant and we are all diligent, the moment we see that some people have strange faces have come into our community, we should be able to ask them, who are you? Where are you coming from? What do you want to come and do here? We have to have that communal living spirit and that communal spirit, not just individual approach. Most Nigerians are very selfish and we focus on ourselves alone. INEC facilities, any government establishment, even OSBC, is our patronage. It belongs to all of us in this community. Those of us living around this area must protect government property. And if we see that anybody is trying to commit anything, we should protect them even before the police comes there. So if somebody goes into a community and burns down a facility and leaves that place, that means people in that community they're culpable. Because you will see them. You will see the car, you will notice somebody, you will have information that you can give police that they can use to go and trace them. But when they come and say, you don't know who did it, and they're just burning everywhere and burning, it doesn't make any sense.
But some people say they are only protesting against the system. And what
that's the stupid way of protesting. If you want to protest with your vote. In a democratic environment, the only way to protest is by your vote. If you want to protest, vote out a party. Go and vote an unknown party. Go and vote an unknown party. If you vote an unknown party, you have passed the message to the leaders that they are not happy with you, and they will learn from their mistakes. But if you are saying you are protesting, you are burning down properties, that's not a smart way to protest. We are not in a banana republic. We are in a democratic society.
Okay, we are not in the banana republic, and yet you discover that the way we practice politics in Nigeria does not even encourage the up and coming ones. A lot of people are currently working against the success of democracy because they have not been able to enjoy the best of democracy. So where do we go from here? When people are losing interest in democracy, which has been defined as the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. If it is not working out the way we were taught in elementary government, in secondary school, and what have you, if people are getting tired of democracy, what does it portend for the future of this country?
I don't think people should get tired. It's because our people don't read. If our people read history very well, they will see that all these so-called developed wars, some people sacrifice their lives, some people sacrifice their time. Obafemi Awolowo, that fought for our democracy, and Nnamdi Azikiwe, they started in their youth. They were fighting. Some of them lost their lives during the battle. MK Abiola was in prison. They told him to step down and relinquish his presidency, and he said no, and he died on the cause. If you want good governance and you want your country to be good, it's not a tea party affair.
So we must be ready to die.
Yeah, not that we must be ready to die, but we must be ready to go the long haul and sacrifice. We should be able to sacrifice more. We are not sacrificing enough. In America, George Washington, all these their leaders, they sacrificed. They went for battle.
But some are saying Nigeria is not worth dying for.
I believe Nigeria is worth dying for as a country. I believe Nigeria is worth dying for. But you don't just die anyhow. But you must stand your ground. These people that are saying Nigeria is not worth dying for, if you go to their streets, they are not involved in CDA activities. They are not involved in their polling unit. They cannot deliver their polling unit for anybody. If you are a proper leader and you are good in your environment, you should be able to go to your polling unit and say, this polling unit, we are voting for Stone Party. We are not voting for these two major parties because we don't like them, but we want to vote for this party and because we like this candidate. So we are not starting that leadership. There's a failure of leadership even at the home level. Let's start from the small parts. Not that you are looking at the presidency. No. Nigeria is already bad. There are a lot of damages in the country. Start from the way to claw it. You start from the base. And people say that if you want to have good society, you start from the home, from the family unit. Same way in politics. If you want to have good governance, don't focus on Osun State alone. Go and focus on the polling unit on your streets.
Okay, let's talk about local government administration. You are a lawyer, a barrister at law.
Yes, please.
How many tiers of government do we have in Nigeria?
We have 3 tiers of government. We have the local, we have the state, and we have the federal.
But how come local government is not being reckoned with in the scheme of things? And a lot of people are saying that local government is no longer part of the federating units.
It's quite unfortunate, and I think it's a sorry situation that all of us in Nigeria we need to speak up against. I mean, I know as far back in 1993, my father was once a local government chairman, and I mean, I know the kind of things, the local government. I know the kind of projects that he did during his time. I was a young guy then, but I mean, I knew, and even now, I still see some of the things he did. But now, when you see local government chairman, some local government chairman cannot even buy pencil for students in primary schools. It's unfortunate. The state government has emasculated them and almost killed them, and the president even complained. About 2 weeks ago, he said that
he's been complaining before now.
Yes, consistently has been complaining. So for the president, you should do beyond complaining. As a leader, when you notice a problem, create a solution for the problem. Create a solution for the problem. You can't just be complaining. So I think the bottom lines on the.
You want Mr. President to address the issue?
Yes, yes. You don't just complain.
How will he? If you are called upon to advise Mr. President,
yes,
what will you tell Mr. President to do?
What I will tell Mr. President to do is that ensure that when you disburse the money, follow up on the money. For this month now, if you send your allocation for January, let us see how the allocation for January was spent. If you cannot account for allocation for January, then that's number one.
Well, at the state level, local governments are put under the administration of the legislature.
Yes. Ordinarily, it shouldn't be. Normally, even the constitution says that the money should go directly. What happens is that the money ought to go directly to local government, and that's what we should have. But I think at the state level, they find a way to dance around those issues, and they don't allow the money to go. I think as the president, what he should do is to ensure that the money from the state goes to the local government, or the money should go directly from the federal to the local government. And there must be monitoring. When government commissioners for finance go to Abuja for meeting to go and share allocation, it's not just about sharing allocation. Let there be a report. How was the last one spent? Did it go to that local government? Invite the local government chairman. Did the money come in? Trace. And if the money does not come in, set your law enforcement agency against them. Let them go and arrest all these local government chairmen that are conniving with the state government to embezzle the money. If the governor has immunity, the local government chairman does not have immunity.
Okay, even though the practicability of what you have just said now in the present situation, I don't know how it will work. But let me ask you, how much has it rub off on governance at the grassroots, the subsisting system where local government is not reckoned with and is seen and as an appendage of the state government?
It has set us backward by over 100 years. It has set us backwards by over 100 years. If you go to primary schools, some primary schools they don't have exercise book, they don't have teachers. Some primary schools they only have 2 teachers. So ordinarily, if the local government is fully funded, the local government chairman can employ teachers, can build schools. Most new schools are being built at the primary level. There is no toilets in the primary schools, no internet. An average 5-year-old, 6-year-old in Lagos in some schools can use an iPad, can use computer very well. So we don't have well-funded primary health care center. We are not opening up new roads. I live in a village. My community is in a village. Our roads, the roads are bad, almost unmotorable. So if you don't empower the local, and now there's now more poverty in the land, so people will now be more hungry. People are begging because the local government is not working. But assuming the local government was working very well, even the chairman can give out contracts. He can employ teachers. He can build schools. He can do certain things in the community. But when everybody is coming to the Oshobo, there is so much pressure, and we cannot achieve much.
Okay. Yes, you are still listening to my guest on the program. We have a limited time to spend, but we still want to touch a particular, very important area today. Mr. Farouk Abbas is a barrister at law, and he has spoken brilliantly on a wide range of issues as far as this program is concerned. And because of time, we shall go into a new administration. There was a new dawn in Osun precisely on November 27th this year, bringing in Senator Ademola Adeleke as the executive governor of Osun State. He's coming on board has seen to some steps being taken to stabilize his government. The appointments made, I want you to assess. Some committees have been put in place to assess the situation on ground, and then we dovetail to the executive orders.
Okay, so you want me to assess what is done so far?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the governor has started on a very strong footing and on the right track. Any new government, especially, we need to understand the challenges and the predicaments facing the current government. You know, in most states, when a governor loses an election or a government is going out, there will be a transition committee both at the state level and from the governor-elect's level, so that they can harmonize and discuss and agree on the way forward. In Osun's case, there was no transition committee on the part of the government. So when the government came in now, they need to set up committees to understand the state of affairs, because the governor has his own plan. But in all those critical areas like mining, asset recovery and all of that, he set up those committees, review what you have on ground. When you review what we have on ground, let us see it. Then when we see it, then we know how to kickstart our blueprint. So I think he's taking the right step. He didn't jump into just taking any drastic decision. He wants to assess what they have. And when the committee gives him a report, I'm sure a white paper will be issued. He will assess it and see what needs to be implemented, what needs to be corrected and all that. In terms of appointment, I don't think he has made any. In terms of appointment of the committee members, I think yes, they are people who are capable. Okay. I know a couple of them. I know that they are competent and they can do the job. And regarding the appointments, so I think he has only appointed just his chief of staff and the SSG and the spokesperson. And these are homegrown people. Part of the policy of the new governor is that he wants to ensure that we have a homegrown economy. Infrastructure contracts will be homegrown. The economic money must flow within the system. So if they are going to give out jobs, if they are going to do anything, you ensure that it benefits the community, it benefits the state, not that they are bringing people from outside to come and benefit from what we have in the state. So those he has chosen, they are people that are at the grassroots level, they understand the system, they are accessible, and I believe that they will give him support. And one thing we should not forget is that the governor is a very compassionate person and is a jolly good fellow. So he has genuine intentions to improve the lot of Osun State citizens, and I'm looking forward to a good governance under his administration.
Okay, taking a look at the executive orders issued so far, how will you are a barrister at law, you should be able to speak about the executive orders. Are they in order?
Yes, he has the constitutional right to issue executive orders, and because he doesn't have a cabinet yet, and he needs to take certain decisions. Like some of them, the one phrasing the account. Those are things that he needs to do immediately in order to block the leakages and all that. So the executive orders are they are in order. He has the power to issue them, and it's a way to also ensure that he's able to achieve his goals. So I think he's in order. He has started on the right track, and I believe that we should expect more good thinking from him going forward.
Okay, yes, to whom much is given, much is expected. What do you expect from the citizenry in Osun here now? We have a new governor who is focused and who is well disposed to their well-being, their welfare and what have you. I remember when the workers welcomed the governor to Bolagi House the other time. The support was overwhelming, and he also did not let them down, because he did promise that this is their government. Thrice he said it, that this is your government. Well, he said we are ready to work. So what do you expect from the people?
Yes, I am a Muslim, and my religion teaches me that as followers we must always pray for our leaders and we must be patient with them. So what I expect from Osun State indigents and residents is that let's pray for the government, for the governor and for the government, and let's be patient with them and let's pray. And the government will be very accessible. If you have any complaints or you have any observation, give them advice in a good order. But more importantly, let's pray for them. Nigerians complain about our leaders too much. Even I believe that part of the reason why some of our leaders don't even perform very well is because the citizenry will curse a lot of our leaders. We curse a lot of our leaders, and you never can tell. Maybe some of those curses have been answered. So I think I implore Osun residents, let's pray for our governor and let's be patient with him. Okay, we can now go on now and take a couple of calls from outside. 08033581128 is the number to dial to be a part of this program platform from 104.5 FM Ileawiye Okibale Racha in Osogbo, the capital city of Osun State. And
The number again is 080-3358-1128. You can just call in. You can ask questions. Just make it snappy, so that we will allow many people to be a part of this program. Hello.
Hello, Alaji.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Your name?
I am Taiwo.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Your question now.
Not question, anyway.
Okay.
I just want to say thank you to our guest there. And nothing said that. The rules and the rulers, like you said the other time when you were talking with him, we should change our
what?
Our attitude.
Okay.
Yeah, we should have attitudinal change.
Okay.
No matter the type of laws or the system we use in voting in the land, there are some people that are just, I don't know how to put it. Maybe they are caught from the pit of hell to come and disturb us. I don't know. But we should change the rulers and the rules in the land.
Okay.
We should change our attitude. That's why we have poverty in the land, and that's why we have all this kidnapping, banditry, and all the rest of it in the land.
Okay.
God bless you there.
Okay, thank you. That was a brilliant one. Yes, the line is still open for those interested in being a part of this discourse. We appreciate you for always being part of the show. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, you are on. Good afternoon. Are you there? Hello. Can we meet you? Okay. Make your point, please. Okay, thank you. Let's go to another person. Hello.
Hello, Alaji.
Yeah, good afternoon. Can we meet you?
Alaji, my name is Alaji Mufuta Wadeleke.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Contributor to Mukibale.
Welcome.
It's a pity. Monetization has become part of our election. What do you think we can do to cop it outrightly? Good afternoon.
Okay, that's a question for you. You can go ahead and answer the question.
Okay, thank you, Alaji Adeleke, for your question. I think what we can do to stop the monetization, to reduce the monetization, because the truth is that you can never stop monetization in politics.
Inducement?
Yes, not inducement, monetization. I think when you say monetization, I'm looking at it from a broader picture. He's talking about, he's referring to inducement.
Okay.
Unless you want me to limit it to inducement.
Okay, monetization is all embracing. I think it has to do with how much money is involved. As far as
yes, that's what I'm going to say. That even in